Hi, my name is Aaron, and this is my show, Re-Education. So today I'm going to talk about guns. So throughout my past on YouTube, I've had a very mixed history when it's come to guns. Sometimes I've been really on the side of guns, and sometimes I have been completely against guns, and I've gotten backlash for both positions. And I would like to say now that I am still conflicted on the issue, but I have a little bit better of an understanding of how someone in my position, an anarcho-communist, would look at gun control. Anarcho-communist, of course, meaning anarcho, the abolishment of all unnecessary hierarchies, and communist, the worker control of the means of production. So for the first couple of issues, we're going to go back and forth on my pro-gun stance and basically my anti-gun stance against my pro-gun stance. Pro, they're necessary for protection. So I don't think a lot of people would disagree with me on this, because I think that if you live in a big city or in a place where there's a lot of crime, you would feel like you were kind of powerless not having some kind of protection with you. And that makes total sense. If everybody around you has a gun and you're the only one that doesn't have one, you're probably going to feel like you're a little bit unprotected. Makes total perfect sense. The only problem with that, though, is that there is a high number of accidental deaths that happen with guns in the home. I mean, you are 3 times more likely to be shot by a gun in the home if you have one there. Pro-gun point number 2 is something that the Founding Fathers talk about, and that's how an armed rebellion is necessary for the growth of freedom. And I believe that that is fundamentally true, that you do need to have some sort of rebellion from time to make sure that the government stays in check. You can't have a government that is completely unfettered, that has absolutely no accountability to the people. But that being said, an armed rebellion would basically be suicide at this point. I mean, I've said this in the past in many other videos. If you were to try to go against the government with weapons, with your pistol or with your shotgun or with your AR-15, they're going to destroy you with drones from 1,000 miles away. You have literally no chance of ever going up against the government. They will kill you no matter what. When you have a group of untrained, unfunded militia going up against the most well-funded military in the world, who basically topple 3 governments before breakfast every single fucking day, you don't really stand a chance to do an armed rebellion. So pro-gun point number 3 would again follow that I think that it would probably be necessary to have a standing militia of the people like we had before, that are independent of the government, able to be directly accountable to the people. But again, a problem that comes from that is if you have something like that, all you need to look to is in the past what we've had whenever a standing militia is being formed. And yeah, the SWAT and military just basically take your compound. If you guard the door, they go in through the wall. If you guard the wall, they go in through the roof. You basically have 0 chance of ever actually getting away with doing such a thing. But they're fun to use. They're really fun to play with. Guns are fun to play with. They're fun to take out. They're fun to shoot. They're fun to polish. They're fun to know about. They're an interesting tool. They have a lot of history. They have a lot of very intricate manufacturing. There's a lot of art that goes into a lot of guns. They're beautiful art pieces at times, but you need proper training to know how to use them. And no matter how fun they are, if you don't have the proper training, then you're going to end up blowing yourself to fucking pieces, or you're going to end up shooting your friend, like a lot of people don't know proper muzzle placement, or not to pull them out while they're drinking. These sorts of things are important to know, and most people don't. So yeah, fun to use. Most people don't have proper training. Pro-gun point number 5. They're good for hunting. They're great for hunting. I go hunting all of the time. I've lost the edge a little bit to be able to kill in my older years, but nonetheless, I still try to go out as often as I can. But that's not practical for most people. Most people live in the city. Most people would just as easily Most people would more easily go to the grocery store and buy a ham than to actually go and shoot a deer or a rabbit, skin it, butcher it, and prepare it inside of their garage. That's not something most people would do. So as you can see, I have a lot of pretty good pro-gun arguments and a lot of fairly decent anti-gun arguments, and they kind of cancel each other out. So I still sit on the side of I enjoy firearms. I think that they are a fun thing to play with. I think that they're an interesting tool, and I think that they are a good way to learn about danger and important things like that. So I am pro-gun. My biggest problem with the whole gun debate, though, is that what it seems to do is pit one another against each other. I think that the most important thing is not whether you're left-wing or right-wing. I think the most important thing is that if you own a gun, you know how to use it. You know how to respect it. You know all of the importance behind such a thing, and you're not going to be slap happy and go and shoot everything that you see. You're not going to pull it out while you're drunk. What I've noticed, though, is that in the media, for the most part, the left is pushed to disarm themselves, where the right is pushed to arm themselves. The problem is that the right wing side more often than not with authoritarianism. And authoritarianism helps the elites. It's interesting to think about that the only people that would be willing to do a revolution would be the only ones that are incentivized not to have firearms at all. It's just something to think about. Anyway, my name is Aaron. This has been Re-Education. Thanks for watching.